Greetings, I'm Rachel, 35 years old, and currently navigating the complexities of divorcing my less-than-stellar husband. I've reached a point where I want to distance myself from him and his unpleasant family. Strangely, right after saying I do, it was like a switch flipped, and he started treating me poorly once we became a united couple. My in-laws, on the other hand, revealed their true feelings from the start. Their dislike for me wasn't overt, but it wasn't difficult to discern that they were merely tolerating me because of my connection to Mark. Over the years, their animosity and pettiness gradually intensified. The breaking point occurred during a recent family vacation. Initially planned for relaxation, the trip took a sour turn. The itinerary included dropping off bags, unwinding, and having a dinner reservation at Passion. However, after dining at the restaurant, some family members expressed the desire to get heavily intoxicated, jeopardizing the following day's plans. In response, two family members suggested that while the younger ones could indulge, the older generation, including the parents, preferred a more laid-back approach, acknowledging their age and desire for relaxation over wild partying. The anticipation of the upcoming family vacation filled us with excitement, as adults craving a much-needed break. The planning process painted a picture of beautiful moments ahead, fostering family love and cherished memories. I hoped that the lingering hatred and animosity would dissipate or at least diminish, given the joyful context of a vacation. Little did I know, Mark's family had different plans. Upon arriving in Doctor, all seemed well until we reached our hotel. Madison and Emma displayed irritability, exchanging curses and shouts. Kevin and Jonathan engaged in foolish antics, disrupting the hotel's feng shui and causing a ruckus. Meanwhile, Mark was preoccupied with berating me for what seemed like his fault due to his lack of proper planning. Amidst the chaos, Mark demanded to know the whereabouts of his socks, placing blame on me for not packing them. Frustrated, I reminded him that I had clearly laid out the socks for him to pack, emphasizing that I wasn't his mother. Tensions escalated as the rest of the group entered. Inquiring about the bar, they urged me to fetch drinks. Despite the time constraints and the scheduled restaurant visit, they dismissed my concerns, insisting that I fulfill my job. It's worth noting that I'm a highly esteemed chef working at a restaurant. Despite my accomplishments, my in-laws and even Mark often viewed me as a mere waitress. Emma's comment about my job further fueled my frustration, as I reminded them that I'm more than just a waitress. Well, she didn't intend it in that manner, Rachel. Don't react as you usually do. Right, my comment had no ill intention. It was just a slip of the tongue. I mean, you work as a waitress, don't you? How many times do I have to remind you that I am a skilled chef? Now, Rachel, let's not escalate things. Let's all take a deep breath. I'm tired and quite hungry. Let's start preparing for the restaurant. Initially, I thought people were a bit fatigued and irritable from the flight, and once we adjusted to this new and exquisite culture, we would relax, unwind, and truly begin our enjoyable vacation. However, I was mistaken. The restaurant turned out to be a disaster, and I was embarrassed by my in-laws' behavior. They incessantly complained about everything, and I, being in the restaurant industry, was the unfortunate target of their constant grievances. They assumed I knew everything about every restaurant ever. Rachel dear, this sushi tastes a bit off. Why is that? I don't know, I replied. The ambiance here is also off. Could you talk to your restaurant friends and see if they can change that? I don't work here, I clarified. No need to be rude about it. He's just asking a question. Honestly, you should know more about this stuff since you work in the restaurant industry as a chef. I had to correct that before she lost her mind. At this point, onlookers stared at us, and I felt more than mortified. The vacation seemed like a failure. I was constantly criticized, yelled at, and treated like a maid attending to everyone's needs. It didn't feel like a vacation at all, and I suspected they brought me along just to have someone to boss around and bully. My suspicions were confirmed when I learned that the planned fun activities excluded me entirely. For the next 3 days, every time I woke up, I found all their rooms completely empty. After idly passing the hours, engaged in nothing but anticipation of responses from the rest of the group, they would all stumble in, partially intoxicated yet content, recounting tales of an apparently fantastic time of merriment. Oh my goodness! Did you witness Dad's tumble off the boat while tubing? That was utterly hilarious. Hey, it wasn't that amusing. Come on, it was the most hilarious thing I've ever witnessed in my life. Hey guys! Oh hey darling, how are you? What happened? I thought we were supposed to go tubing together. A brief silence ensued. No one seemed inclined to say anything, almost as if they were searching for an adequate response. Finally, Mark spoke up. Oh, you were sleeping, so we didn't want to disturb you. Okay, but you could have woken me up. This is supposed to be a family vacation, right? As it turned out, my assumptions were mistaken. As the days passed, more signs emerged, indicating that I was merely there as assistance, not as someone to enjoy the vacation alongside the family. But that wasn't even the worst part. Our 3-week getaway to doctor was reaching its conclusion. We were all packed and prepared to leave. The last dinner was relatively calm, and we went to bed. Our flight was scheduled for the afternoon, allowing us the morning to finalize preparations and bid farewell to the lovely island. I woke up around 10 a.m., which wasn't too late considering our 5 p.m. flight. To my shock and dismay, I woke up to yet another deserted house. However, this time, it seemed as though everyone had departed. Mark, Madison, Emma, Kevin, and Jonathan, all of them had left abruptly, as their bags were nowhere to be found. I was utterly flabbergasted. I began frantically calling Mark, and as my anxiety reached its peak, I ended up calling anyone. I reached out to the front desk, hoping for clarity. Once connected, the lady at the reception confirmed my suspicions. Everyone had departed around 9 a.m. To my surprise, she too shared my bewilderment, unaware that I remained the sole occupant. The question echoed in my mind: why abandon me? Sitting there, grappling with the unfolding scenario, the initial hurt and pain transformed into a simmering cauldron of anger and bitterness. It dawned on me that these individuals harbored an aversion towards me. Instances of deliberate exclusion from shared activities had hinted at their animosity, yet I was oblivious to the full extent of their eccentricities. Though tempted to call again, I resisted, opting for a strategic approach to exact my revenge. Fed up with their shenanigans, I realized it was time to turn the tables. Amidst calming the earlier panic attack, I reminded myself of the splendid surroundings, a gorgeous and marvelous destination. Refusing to squander time in tears or self-pity, I resolved to seize the opportunity, extending my vacation to make the most of the trip. Fortuitously, I successfully extended both my visa and the reservation at the exquisite resort. Miraculously, my fortunes took an unexpected turn, leading me to embrace the belief in miracles. Downsizing to a more intimate room, unburdened by unnecessary space, allowed me to shape my vacation according to my desires. No longer blindsided by the omission of daily activities, I took charge, inquiring at the front desk and booking a plethora of engaging experiences. From cruises and casino tours to hiking, tubing, shopping, and even glamping, I indulged in a whirlwind of extravagant adventures. In the midst of my escapades, I encountered a group of spirited single ladies around my age. Engaging in lively conversations, I found comfort in revealing the challenges of my embarrassing and abusive relationship with my toxic husband and in-laws. Their immediate solidarity, ready to stand up for me, highlighted the sweetness of true friendship. This newfound group of girlfriends became my companions, adding joy to my various activities. Reveling in the freedom of solitude, I was equally prepared to share my experiences with genuine individuals, in stark contrast to the disdainful husband and his equally contemptible family. The unfolding of these events took an additional 2 weeks in the remarkable destination. Yet each task brought immeasurable joy, solidifying my contentment. As for Mark and the toxic crew who left me behind, the narrative unfolds on the day they departed, marked by a phone call from Mark that shaped the subsequent conversation. Greetings. I maintained a serene composure despite the expectations that surrounded me. While I did feel a hint of frenzy and overwhelm within, I was determined not to grant them the satisfaction of acknowledging the impact of their sadistic actions. Your tone sounds reassuring. I am indeed well, and I trust your journey was safe. In the background, I detected voices indicating I might have been on speakerphone. Yes, the flight went smoothly. Are you okay? Absolutely, I'm perfectly fine. I have plans for the evening, but the details are not a matter of your concern. Pardon me, but as your husband and family, it is within our purview to know about your plans. Well, it's amusing that you bring up family when, as far as I recall, families and husbands don't simply abandon each other. I woke up to an empty house, fully aware of your disdain, using this trip to exploit me as nothing more than assistance. It's absurd. Save your feigned sympathy. Your acting is as convincing as fish-flavored ice cream. Horrendous. However, your grave mistake was leaving me in doctor care. Your foolishness inadvertently benefits me, allowing me to relish my vacation without enduring incessant nagging from toxic individuals. Mark, in case it wasn't evident, I seek a divorce. As a newly single woman, I'm going out tonight with a charming individual named David, promising an enjoyable time. Your attempts to break me failed. If anything, they strengthened my resolve. Apologies for shattering your expectations. I surpass all of you in every aspect, so there's no need for concern. The new life I've built is more than sufficient to sustain my happiness. I wish you the day you believe you deserve." Without allowing anyone to speak, I promptly ended the call. Subsequently, my husband and in-laws, or rather ex-husband and in-laws at this juncture, bombarded me with calls and texts. Ignoring them, I continued with my evening. Throughout the additional week in the Dominican Republic, I received persistent calls and texts from them, all of which I chose to ignore. Instead, I focused on sharing the best moments through pictures and reels on my Instagram. They attempted to garner attention with comments, but my followers fiercely defended me, showcasing their resilience under pressure. As a celebrated chef, my substantial following dealt with such individuals appropriately. However, in this case, the satisfaction derived from witnessing their trolling behavior was heightened as it hit close to home. Despite being torn apart in the comments, it wasn't sufficient to satisfy my thirst for revenge. My extended vacation concluded, forcing me to return to the harsh reality awaiting me in Louisiana. Choosing not to return home, I opted for a hotel to keep my adversaries in suspense. By withholding my whereabouts, I returned to my fulfilling job and shared updates to signify my return, without intending to communicate with them. Ignoring 100 messages and missed calls from Mark, Madison, Emma, Jonathan, and Kevin, I refrained from engagement. The idea of revenge had not yet crystallized until a sudden realization struck me. I knew precisely what I would do to exact my revenge. I opted to disrupt the tightly knit familial bonds they cherished. While they derived satisfaction from uniting against me, I pondered how they might react if they sensed toxicity within their own ranks. My conviction rested on the belief that those who endeavor to shatter others' lives often possess the most fragile self-esteem, susceptible to crumbling abruptly. It's noteworthy that this family also managed a joint business. Perhaps it was during these professional endeavors that they plotted to undermine my life. However, 2 months later, I decided to reach out to Mark and engage in a conversation. "Hello, Mark. It's Rachel. Oh, it's delightful to hear your voice. The house has been chaotic without you. I can't quite put my finger on it, but things haven't been the same. We all miss you. Where have you been staying?" "That's none of your concern, but I wanted to address something heavy on my conscience. Please don't deny what you said about the divorce." "On the contrary, I meant every word. However, I have harrowing news to share. Is everything okay?" "Since I want a divorce, I thought it best to be honest about what I witnessed and overheard when we were together. I kept silent out of fear, but now I have nothing to lose. I often overheard Madison and Jonathan favoring Emma and Kevin over you. They labeled you as weak and pathetic, keeping you around solely to mistreat you. Remember our vacation? That mistreatment you experienced? They plan to subject you to the same ordeal. Consider the time they made you drive 3 hours to a closed store, claiming ignorance. In reality, they were well aware." "Oh, that's preposterous. Mom and Dad would never do that." "Oh, I haven't finished. Moreover, Kevin and Emma would also engage in mischief. Do you recall how Kevin and Emma attended that seminar? The one you were so eager to join? Well, it turns out there was an extra invitation that could have been yours. Unfortunately, they gave it to your cousin Samuel instead. You're fabricating this. There's no way they would treat me like that. After all, we're siblings. You're deceiving yourself. Do you really believe their photo sharing was an attempt to include you? You should be aware of a separate chat group they have without you, just as you have one without me. No way, I refuse to believe you. If you prefer to remain oblivious, go ahead. However, it's worth noting that your beloved mother is cheating on Dad. She has been doing so for the past 10 years with someone named Beverly, a contractor. I don't believe a word you're saying. You must be lying. Don't believe me? Fine. Verify it yourself." At that moment, I inundated him with a barrage of texts and email threads supporting everything I had mentioned. As it turns out, with a loyal following, you can obtain any information you need. Forget about hiring a detective or a private investigator. These people were the real detectives. Thanks to the everlasting nature of the internet and my intelligent followers, they gathered information crucial for this investigation. They provided all the necessary evidence for me to confront Mark one last time and bid farewell to him and his dysfunctional family. Predictably, this revelation caused significant tension and uproar among them, and I captured the entire confrontation on the house's installed cameras. Mark orchestrated a gathering, aiming for a significant discussion, and more captivating revelations ensued. It turned out that Emma wasn't just creating trouble for Kevin, she was pilfering small amounts of his funds whenever the opportunity arose. This clandestine operation had been ongoing for years, leaving Kevin thoroughly displeased. Furthermore, Jonathan was entangled in his own web of deceit, engaging in a 5-year-long affair with a co-worker while cheating on Madison. The entire household descended into chaos, with people shouting and hurling objects in every direction. Seemingly, animosity permeated every relationship, creating a spectacle that I savored with popcorn and soda in hand from the comfort of my hotel room. Fast forward a couple of months, and the family business they operated was unraveling rapidly. The newfound discord within the family proved detrimental to their business, causing a decline in subscribers and eventual bankruptcy. It was a tragic end for a business that had spanned generations, undoubtedly tarnishing the family name. Not only did they cease communication with each other, but their extended families also distanced themselves. A prevailing sense of misery and isolation enveloped them, confirming that my revenge had been successfully exacted.